Yeah, realize.
We are live.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The hour being 5:30, I will now call the Public Works and Service Committee meeting to order. For January 11th, 2022. Mr. Fritzloff, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Alder Jones,
Present.
Alder McCarthy,
Present.
Alder Santiago,
Present.
Alder Lemke will be late, 6 p.m. And Alder Ross.
Present.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda will be the approval of the minutes for November 30, 2021.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Alder McCarthy, second by Alder Santiago to approve the November 30th, 2021 mini meetings. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? The motion passes. First item on our agenda is 0008-22. Assistant Commissioner Fritzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones requesting the city provide free parking in the Racine Public Library parking lot and 4 spaces / meters on Lake Street during the library's normal operating hours on Thursdays from January 27th through April 7th, 2022 to allow the United Way of Racine County's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program to serve residents at the Racine Public Library. We have Vicki Selko here, if she'd like to speak to this item. One thing I will add is that there's a couple things in the fiscal notes that 2,640 would be reduced to approximately $900. The library did not specify there is a handicapped space that is in the area of the 4 spaces they requested, so we don't know if they want that space to be free parking as well. So just a couple items to take care of there. Ms. Selko.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairwoman Jones and staff and alders. Lovely to be with you tonight. This item is pretty simple. We did this 2 years ago as well. The city and the library are trying to partner with the United Way to bring their VITA program for free tax preparation to the library so that residents can easily access it there. And greatly appreciate Alder Jones sponsoring this to try and make this possible. The United Way really likes to have and needs to have free parking at these sites so that there's no barrier to their volunteers who are coming to serve as volunteer tax preparers at this location, or for those residents who are coming to get their taxes prepared at the locations. They don't want to have any sort of financial deterrence to folks when they're coming to get their taxes done at these VITA sites. This is a great opportunity for us to partner with the United Way of Racine County and the library to bring a really needed service to our residents in exchange for this small loss of parking revenue to be able to promote this at our library and have residents access the service at a really trusted and central location. So I hope you'll support this item tonight. And thanks again to Alder Jones for sponsoring this.
You're welcome. Thank you. Questions from committee members?
I move to approve the request for 4 spots plus the adjacent handicap parking spot.
I'll second that.
Motion is second by motion by Alder McCarthy, second by Alder Santiago to approve item 008-22. Do we need to include the correction for the dollar amount of 900 versus 26 in that motion?
That, and I would think that includes the additional spot as well, which she did.
Okay.
She did bring up.
Yeah, the additional metered spaces on Lake Avenue was not in the original request, was it?
It's right, yeah, the additional
It's
4,
on
but
Lake.
there's a fifth handicap spot next to it next to the 4 they requested.
Oh, the handicap spaces do not require payment. Okay. They are free of charge.
Thank you. All those in favor of approval of item 00822, please say aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. The next item, thank you, Mrs. Selko.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
The next item is 0992-21. Mr. Pritchlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2021-096, cast in place lining, Racine Works program. City Engineer Molitor.
As Ron stated, on December 8th of last year, the Department of Public Works received bids for that contract 2021-096, which is the 2021 CIPP lining, and submit same for approval for the following bids. We received 2 bids, one from Visu Sewer, which is the low bidder of $872,239.28, and Musson Brothers was the other bid. The Public Works estimate for this project was $850,000, and it is a Racine Works program contract. We recommend that the contract be awarded to the low bidder of Visu Sewer at their base bid of $872,239.28. The funding for this is listed on the memo. We recommend you approve.
Mr. Molitor, any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Santiago, second by Alder McCarthy, that item 0992-21 be approved. If there are no questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. The next item is 0991-21. Mr. Pritchlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2021-097 CCTV inspection. City Engineer Molitor.
As stated, on December 8th of last year, the Department of Public Works received bids for the contract 2021-097, which is the 2021 CCTV inspection of the sewers. And submit the same for your approval. The following bids were, low bidder was Green Bay Pipe and TV LLC at $175,238.88. We had 2 other bidders of Visu Sewer and National Power and Rotting. Public Works Department estimate for this project was $190,000. It is not a Racine Works program contract. If you agree, we recommend that the contract be awarded to Green Bay TV and Pipe, or Pipe and TV LLC at their base bid of $175,238.88. The funding is listed in the memo.
Thank you. Alder McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Why is it not a Racine Works contract?
It is below the threshold of $200,000.
Okay.
$175,000.
Did any of the bidders volunteer to participate in that, or is that just because it wasn't part of the requirements, it just wasn't considered?
The way the Racine Works program is set up, if the bids, if you submit a bid and is over $200,000, then you must comply with Racine Works program. So
Okay.
that threshold number, it all depends where it comes in. We could make an estimate and base the Racine Works program based on the engineer's estimate. But when we looked at Racine Works program and migrated it from the old Racine First program, we settled on the contract bid amount as the threshold number for Racine Works.
Does that mean, out of curiosity, that Visu Sewer and National Power are both bid over $200,000? did make it a Racine Works program then, based on
They
their
would
bid?
have had to comply with the terms of Racine Works, that is correct.
It's interesting. When these ones that are on the borderline, that can be a little bit manipulated then. All right.
It can
Understood.
be. The reason $200,000 was settled on Alden McCarthy, years ago, we looked at this, $200,000 was the number that, after Public Works and Engineering reviewed, this goes back to the Racine First program days, is that is around the threshold number where there is enough labor involved in a contract where it makes a substantial difference. For example, if we're going to bid on a $75,000 contract and 60,000 of it was for materials and equipment
Right.
needed, there's really no way that you're going to be able to apply, 15 or 20% of the labor to, $10,000 or $15,000 of labor, that percentage. So that's the way it was written in the original Racine First ordinance, and that's the way it was carried forward to Racine Works.
Yeah.
They use it as the bid submitted as opposed to the engineer's estimate.
May I ask, even though it's not directly on this item, is Public Works interested in revisiting the criteria for that? Whether it's based on the estimate, whether it's based on a number of hours, those kind of things, or is Public Works content with as it operates right now?
As a matter of fact, we're meeting this Friday to discuss Racine Works program.
Excellent.
We're always interested in making tweaks that make the most sense, not only to promote, possible employment opportunities for city residents, but also make sure that the type of bids that we're advertising and letting and procuring are also being done in the best interest of those paying for the project, whether they're
Excellent.
taxpayers or ratepayers. So we are meeting with the purchasing agent, city administrator, and this is the way it will be for this bidding season.
Yeah.
Changes that we want to make will probably come forward to the common council. And then if we want to implement or change things going into the 2023 year, those will come before probably, I would assume, this committee or committee of the whole, and then ultimately the common council. So your question is timely. We are meeting on Friday.
Excellent. And I look forward to seeing any potential ordinance changes that'll be proposed. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Thank you, Alderman McCarthy. Any further questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to
To
approve.
approve, or so I will second.
Motion by Alderman Santiago, second by Alderman McCarthy, to approve item 0991-21. No further questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Our next item is 0998-21. Assistant Commissioner Prinsloo.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting change order number 1, the contract 2021032, roof replacement at 1415 Hamden Place. HIS Comp is contractor. Once again, this is change order number 1 on contract 2021032 in the amount of $9,255.11. Contract is approved at $60,960 under resolution 0356-21 on May 18th of 21. And this change order brings the contract total to $70,215.11.
Thank you, Mr. Prinsloo. Any questions from committee members?
I wouldn't mind just hearing for a change order, just sort of a quick outline of what the change is, just so we're informed.
Sure, there's a couple of items that were taken care of as part of the change order. The first of which was a significant amount of rotted roof decking that we found when we uncovered things. That was a significant portion of the change order, as a matter of fact. And then the second piece was a gutter gutter edge replacement. That's what we found when we stripped everything down was the edge was cantilevered such that it was starting to buckle. So we had to reinforce that with some 2x4s and some structural members. And those two things resulted in the bulk of the change order.
Thank you.
Ron, did you want to mention there was a deduct included as well?
Yes, there was a deduct. We always do allow, we have an allowance for in these contracts that are largely dependent on the amount. So in this case, it was $5,000. So that part of it was deducted as part of the change order as well.
Any further questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve?
Motion by Santiago to approve. Is there a second? Alvarado, second. Thank you.
Peace, man.
If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposes? The motion passes. Our next item is 0997-21. Mr. Pritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works. Submitting change order number 1, the contract 2021036. Humboldt Park HVAC upgrades, United Mechanical Incorporated contractor. Once again, this is change order number 1 in the amount of $2,239.00. The original contract was $79,299.00 under resolution 0358-21, again of May 18, 2021. And this change order brings the total contract amount to $81,538.00. And funding is appropriated from the accounts shown on the memo. This change order was as part of the HVAC system. We added a few shutoff valves for redundancy sake at a small cost, $2,000 bucks. So I'm sorry, about $1,500. So just for redundancy and safety purposes, we decided to add a couple of those.
Thank you, Mr. Pritzlaw. Questions?
Move
from committee
Oh,
members?
oh.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to move to approve. I'm sorry, I was too fast.
That's okay.
Okay, move
I
to
want to know
approve.
any questions you find. Motion
Second.
by- Okay, motion by Alderman McCarthy, second by Alderman Santiago to approve item 0997-21. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. The next item is 0994-21. Excuse me, Assistant Commissioner Fritzlaw.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. We have communication sponsored by Alder Jones. On behalf of the department, we're going to submit final payment for contract 2021036. Humboldt Park HVAC upgrades, United Mechanical Incorporated contractor. And once again, this is a final payment in the amount of $4,221.48. With a total contract amount, the contractor is requesting final payment in the amount of $81,538.00. Project was authorized under 0358-21 on May 18th of 2021, the amount of $79,000, $79,299.00. The adjusted amount was the result of change order number 1 for $2,239. And the final funding for the project is as shown on the memo.
Thank you, Mr. Fritzlaw. Question from committee members? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve
Second.
by Alder Ross, second by Alder McCarthy, to approve item 0994-21. If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. The next item on our agenda is 0996-21. Mr. Fritzloff.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the city engineer, submitting change order number 1, the contract 2021-048-048, 2021 street lighting, outdoor lighting construction company incorporated contractor. City engineer Molitor.
As Assistant Commissioner Fritzlaw stated, we are submitting a change order number 1 to the contract of 2021-048, which is the 2021 street lighting, which is Blaine Avenue. This is a deduct amount of $10,361.94. The original contract was approved in the amount of $109,130.94 on the resolution 0516-21 on date July 20th, 2021. This change order brings the contract amount to $98,769 even.
Okay, Mr. Molitor. Any questions? Alder McCarthy.
Yes, first of all, in the spirit of fairness, can we get the explanation for the deduct amount of $10,000? Not just when they go up, but why when they go down as well?
This particular project was Blaine Avenue. It's at Boulevard.
I'm aware.
Went on, and what happened out there was the old circuit is what we call always hot. So we had multiple places where the We Energy feed came into that circuit, which created a the whole dangerous situation. Hence, that was the point of the project. So in that, most of it is sidewalk related, where we didn't replace sidewalks where we thought the drop was. So we didn't. I mean, can be pretty expensive when you got handicap ramps and everything else. That was mainly where the deduct came from, was lack of concrete work.
All right, thank you. May I follow up, Madam Chairman?
Absolutely.
Go right ahead.
So I'm now the alderman of this area. I walked into a hornet's nest on this one. And I'm going to summarize the reply I gave to many of the people that aren't happy with the appearance of the new lights. My summary of that is the old lights were kind of worthless. They provided no light. I personally found the old lights very unattractive. I don't mind the new lights, honestly. There's a lot of people, however, that really dislike the new lights. My response to them was, yeah, it's a subjective kind of thing, first of all, but there maybe should have been some sort of public input on this one, given the historic nature of the neighborhood. So my question really for, I guess, the director at this point is, are there criteria for public input on things like this? For example, quite a while ago, John, we did several public input sessions on Washington Avenue. Took a while because it's a major street there, state highway. Is there any kind of criteria for doing those kind of public input sessions for these kind of things?
Well, I'll mention a couple things, and I did email, I believe, one of your constituents over there who had questions about the project.
Yep,
and
and that's
here's the kind of the long and the short of it. Those old concrete poles over there, regardless of the fact that they had post top lighting, or you have an arm that attaches the pole to the luminaire, are not considered decorative or historic fixtures. They're just the old version of old street lighting products that were used decades and decades and decades ago. They have been replaced in numerous locations throughout the city. And when we do that, we replace those types of lights with, brushed aluminum, standard WisDOT type features. When we have a boulevard like Blaine, that lends itself to median lighting with a double arm. Okay, that's what you use in lieu of that post up, which was the area was probably underlit for standards as well.
Mhm.
So when we changed out to standard, from what was standard old lighting to standard new lighting, that is what we use citywide as well. Again, we use those same aluminum poles, those same arms, same LED fixtures. as far as I know, this neighborhood is not a historic district, is not designated as a historic district. We do have historic lights in some neighborhoods that are designated historic. By ordinance, historic lighting, if it is wanted in historic districts, can be provided. A special assessment needs to be done, that for public hearings need to be held. We would need to do a commissioner's report to assess what those damages would be. And those are done in those areas. So a couple areas that come to mind would be Manry Park, designated area. College Avenue, historic post op or historic district, that decorative lighting that you see there. This area is really similar to many other areas throughout the city where we replace those same types of lights. We kind of refer to them in engineering as the coolie hat type lights. You know, the post op on the old concrete poles, and we replace them with the new standard lighting. You know, apparently a resident or two wasn't happy about it, discussed it with some others, and I think it caught on a little bit. I don't think we would have done anything different in this particular situation going back, you know, in retrospect here. We typically don't hold public comment for streetlight replacement projects at all. If we are doing something in a historic district where that type of upgrade is desirous or is desired by the neighbors, then we would have to go through that type of project. Or it's a historic neighborhood that wants historic lighting. So, and there's a big upcharge between decorative lighting and standard lighting. So
Okay.
I don't want to, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that, you know, the upcharge can be several $1,000s per fixture. You know, could be double the cost. So, and that all gets distributed amongst all the property owners, that difference in price. So this isn't a project that just gets done out of general obligation, you know, bonding, and it gets paid for by all taxpayers in the city. This would be a surcharge, if you will, an assessment to those property owners wanting that style lighting. And I understand it. Lighting's a fickle subject to many, many people. Some people can't get enough. Some people can't stand it. It's something that can be debated on end without any real resolution. So again, I don't think I would have done anything differently in retrospect. But we can certainly consider things moving forward.
Mhm.
The Public Works and Services Committee, the Common Council thinks it's a very important issue. We can take a look at it on future lighting projects and offer it up. I think the logic behind it that is in ordinance right now for special assessments for decorative lighting is sound. It's only permitted in historic districts. So those things could all be changed in the direction of the Common Council, all in McCarthy, and we'd welcome that discussion if you want to have that.
Oh, sure. So the first part of that I hear is we as a council, or perhaps me as the previous alderman, could have arranged to get the area considered as an historic district. I never did that, nor did Alderman Young, so bad on us for that then. The part that we might be able to look into is some methodology for letting people know they have the opportunity to be charged a surcharge there. Right now, nobody even knew they could have asked about decorative lighting and, you know, gone around the neighborhood, much like Fernelli. He said, hey guys, let's sign up and let's get ourselves pay the extra, you know, $300 a house and get some nice lighting here or something. I don't think they knew about the opportunity at that point. So that's where I see a gap in there. I think most neighborhoods, they would say, I don't care. This one may have said, yes, I do care, and would have paid the difference. So something to consider.
Yeah, in response to that, you know, those things can be considered. We do try to stick with standard type lighting, regardless whether it's decorative or it's non-decorative lighting. You know, we don't want to have to keep in stock or maintain, you know, 6 different style light poles or you know, arms or different types of fixtures. We kind of settle on very few products, and they're either the decorative ones or they're standard lighting. So, you know, we want to limit it to just, it would be either decorative or standard, but it's what the city considers decorative or standard, as the open up Pandora's box and have 10 different lifestyles scattered throughout the city. That's just not good from an operation standpoint, but
Completely reasonable. Looks like the mayor might have something to say, Madam Chairman.
Oh, I was waiting till we were finished. So are you?
I am done.
Thank you. Mayor Mason.
Yeah, I also received communications from the folks on that boulevard section of Blaine Avenue. I think Alder McCarthy laid out some good questions and some good considerations. I don't know that it merits saying that the only place that can have decorative lightings are ones that are designated historic. We don't have a lot of the community that is designated historic. So I do think it bears reviewing what kind of lighting we're putting in where, and whether or not decorative needs to be a special assessment, or if there's just a decision we want to make as a community that some places will have the older ones, other places will have newer ones. But I think it's worth revisiting this. Certainly that boulevard section of Blaine Avenue isn't historic officially, but I think people would argue was one of the sort of unique little pockets of the city of Racine. And I do think something was lost by putting in the newer lighting without giving some consideration to the aesthetic that was there before the older lights were removed. So it's definitely something we're going to look at. Again, I think it's probably something moving forward for next year's budget to consider in terms of what kind of process we want to use.
Thank you. Mayor Mason. Alder McCarthy.
Rooney, would you like to come back with a recommendation for a process on this or something for the committee that, I don't know what it would be, honestly. You guys might be better on that, how we inform when lights being replaced to give people the opportunity to pay a premium. I don't know what that would look like, or as part of the budget process or what, but can you have a think about that and maybe come back for us on that?
We could do that and bring it before the committee of the whole and just have a discussion.
yeah.
I think this committee is fine out of Madam
This
Chairman.
committee would be fine on it? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to revisit the ordinance regarding ornamental lighting, probably have a discussion with the city attorney about it as well. Try to figure out maybe the intent of it was different than what it needs to be today. At the end of the day, there will have to be a way to account for those additional costs, and be able to separate where, if the city decides to pay for it, it's not an assessment, because it can become a very expensive proposition moving forward for the city of Racine to put in that type of lighting, citywide. And in some respects too, it may, make the decorative lighting maybe less decorative when it becomes ultimately more standard, if it ever went that far. I think these are things we can review. And when we have something ready, we'll discuss it with the chair. We'll get something for the committee for discussion at the appropriate time.
Very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Thank everyone for your input. If there are no further questions, comments, I would entertain a motion to approve item 0996-21.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder McCarty, second by Alder Santiago to approve item 0996-21. All those in favor, please let it be known by saying aye.
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 Any opposers? The motion passes. The next item is 0993-21. Assistant Commissioner Fritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting final payment for contract 2021048, 2021 street lighting, outdoor lighting construction company, the contractor. City Engineer Molitor.
As Assistant Commissioner Pritchett stated, the work on contract 2021-048, which is the 2021 street lighting, has been completed, and the contractor Outdoor Lighting Construction Company, Inc. is requesting final payment in the amount of $98,769 even. Preliminary funding for the project as shown in resolution number 0516-2021 21 of July 20th, 2021 was in the amount of $109,130.94. We just approved a contract change order for a deduct amount of $10,361.94. Funding is, as is stated on the memo. If the committee agrees, we recommend that the final payment be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Mulliner. Any questions from committee members? Alder Ross.
Thank you, President Jones. Okay, Chairwoman Jones. Do you happen to have figures on the cost differential between the high pressure sodium bulbs that we had and the LEDs that we switched to? And maybe perhaps like a difference in lumen output, maybe?
Do we have that information?
Yeah,
We
like how
could-
much it costs to operate per watt hour, or what it may be, and then what lumen, what's the output differential between the high pressure sodium and then the replacement LED bulbs? I know people tell me, and they have complaints, they say that the lights are not as bright as the old ones. So do we happen to have that value, what the lumen output is on the old high pressure sodiums compared to the new LED bulbs?
You know, we can provide that information. We get cut sheets to approve material, you know, products all the time. So it has all that data on there on the cut sheets from the manufacturer.
Awesome. I'd love that if you could send that over.
You can email that to you.
Sweet. Thank you.
I will guarantee you, nobody is complaining about that in this particular case.
It's always together.
Are you talking about project specific, Alder Rouse?
I just want to generally know, because I know that when we replace these bulbs, we move into the LED, and even We Energies has now moved in replacing to the LED bulbs. I'm just trying to get a general figure on what is the lumen output of these LED bulbs, and we might only be able to get that figure for ours. I can contact We Energies on the side, and then the cost differential, like how much it costs to operate an LED bulb compared to a high pressure sodium bulb.
Yeah. We did have those Cooley lights or those concrete poles. Those were retrofitted with LED
Yeah.
lights in them. So, you know, the cost differential, you know, from what we had out there this time last year as opposed to what we have out there now, is going to be, you know, yeah, it'll be different because we have more lights, but it won't be that significant. But I can get you whatever you want. I'll email you tomorrow, and we'll get specifics of what you're really looking for.
Thank you.
Any further questions from committee members? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve final payment.
Second.
Motion by Alder McCarthy, second by Alder Santiago, to approve item 0993-21. Seeing no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much, everyone. The next item is 0995-21, Assistant Commissioner Fritzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, including final payment for contract 2021031. Roof replacement on the Penguin Meerkat Building, Carlson Racine Roofing and Sheet Metal contractor. Once again, this is final payment. The work has been completed and Carlson Roofing is requesting final payment for all we've completed in the amount of $20,979. Project was authorized by resolution 0355-21 of May 18, 2021. In the amount of $25,799, and the funding is as shown on the memo. We would request approval of this final payment. That $5,000 that you're not seeing in there is the what we discussed earlier as that buffer that we put into these roofing contracts just in case we see any problems. So essentially, we're right on track here with our final payment.
Thank you, Mr. Fritzloff. Any questions from committee members?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Santiago, second by Alder Ross to approve item 0995-21. Seeing if no one has any further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? The motion passes. The next item is 0014-22. Mr. Pritchlaw.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Assistant Commissioner of Public Works. Submitting a professional services agreement between the City of Racine and the Concord Group in the not to exceed amount of $70,000 for a DPW campus conceptual study. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. City of Racine has received a proposal from the Concord Group to conduct a detailed conceptual study for a new DPW campus. The study will consist of evaluating our current DPW and transit facilities and consider potential to consolidate, optimize operations, and incorporate various lead smart city initiatives. The project will also review the city-owned land or vacant parcels in order to determine their viability and siting a new DPW campus. Finally, evaluate the current DPW property for redevelopment possibilities and marketability. Some of the deliverables will include a due diligence review on the available properties, lead smart cities initiatives, ultimate concept, site layout, a master project schedule for design construction, master project budget for design and construction. And the study will ultimately provide the information for both budget impacts of constructing a new public works campus. We're recommending that an agreement be entered into the not to exceed amount of $70,000 and the mayor and city clerk be directed to sign this agreement. Funding for this agreement is available in the following org and object on the memo. This was an item that was placed in the 2022 capital improvement program budget. To kind of go into a little more detail than what the memo describes is what we're looking at is potentially the Racine steel casting site as a location to perhaps relocate some DPW facilities, if not all of them. The Racine steel casting site, I just had a conversation with Phil Bowers earlier today and Jeff Hintz talking about that site. It is a site I think that the CDA is having real difficulty trying to find anything of any value to be developed on that property. And we've had this discussion, over the last several months with the mayor and city administrator about, potentially looking at, what would the possibility be if we could look at citing some different DPW facilities, if not perhaps all of them one day at that location. This kind of follows up on the facilities condition assessment. And what we're looking at particularly over there in the immediate future is the possibility and need for a solid waste transfer station. We will be receiving a proposal, we'll be sending a draft report next week from the consultant that has been working on the waste management project that we brought to committee back in early fall to look at various options for waste collection and disposal for the city of Racine in light of the fact that Kestrel Hawk will be closing later in 2023. One of those options that will be referred to in that study will be the creation of a transfer station. There will be several options that will be looked at, but that is one of them. If that is the preferred alternative and the one that is ultimately settled on by the Common Council, then we need a location to build that facility. And we feel this location would be a good place to start, and then not be too short-sighted as to place it perhaps on this property without investigating, where other DPW facilities may go someday. So we're looking at that. location over there. This is probably our most immediate need. We start working on this project with Concord is that potential location and seeing what DPW might look like, many years down the line. We also talking with Bill Bowers earlier today, that area where the DPW campus sits over there, on Pearl Street and 9th Street and Marquette and Racine Street, there's an opportunity maybe that can be converted back into, residential housing. It's along the river bluff and may provide a new pocket area of, some type of housing that could go in there and Memorial Drive, particularly that area, it's zoned for this type of use. It is kind of an industrial corridor. There's a railroad track on the east side, a youth correctional facility on the south side, an athletic facility to the west, more, industrial to the north. So we feel this fits in quite well over there. And that's what we'll be exploring with this study. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to entertain them, or Ron might be able to as well. He's been working with the folks at Concord with me on this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Alder Rouse. Oops, didn't see.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few questions. Is this property in question, this is the one that's on the east side of Memorial, right? Adjacent to not the prison, but kitty corner from Horlick Field?
It is adjacent to the prison is on the south side of Albert Street, and it's bounded by Albert Street and Hamilton, the railroad tracks, and Memorial Drive. This is the property immediately north of the youth correctional facility. It's a former Racine steel casting site.
Okay. Does this
EA
include,
also acquired the Precision Erecting property across the street and recently raised that. That's another potential location if maybe part of the DPW campus could be used at that location. We're not sure what that would be. There's two properties that are privately owned to the north. One is a Zarian and the other one is a vacated property. It's already been raised and actually Bill Bauer said they're exploring, acquiring, that piece perhaps for, this purpose as well. So that is the location. I should have probably got something to the committee. We can also send something out tomorrow that location, so you're aware of what we're talking about.
all right,
That's the area in question.
Mr. Ross, Alder Ross, excuse me, did that answer your question?
yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alder McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to express my enthusiasm for this. First, I've heard of it, and it sounds like a great use of that piece of property, and I think consolidating our facility sounds like a great idea as well. So I'm very much enthused about that. Is the rail right there to any advantage for us at all, or is it just coincidence that it's there and part of the industrial setting? For example, can we transfer by rail our trash? I don't know.
Well, unless that rail has a spur that goes to a landfill, I highly doubt it. No, I just think that, a facility, like a DPW campus, some type of change in that neighborhood, albeit a city facility, might do that area good. And as you know, there are areas on it that have been remediated. There are areas that really should remain passive. And believe me, we need both types of spaces on that site, for the parking of some of our equipment that stays outdoors, our plow blades, other things that can sit out there and that would fit well with passive use. So that's another thing that we'll have Concord Group look at and see what areas would be best suited for this type of facility, or whether it's passive or we have to actually build a structure on it. But these are things, we want to look at and see, could we have, a solid waste and street maintenance garage consolidated and put together on that site. We have so many various different buildings down at the DPW campus. We've got a street maintenance building. We've got a solid waste building. We've got a traffic and parking building. We've got a salt storage building. We've got fleet maintenance. We've got a fuel depot. We've got Pearl Street drop off there. We've also got the chip site. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of different buildings scattered across rights of ways. This could consolidate it right on a major arterial that is the best we have in the city. Kind of bisects the city and great access, north and south to do what Public Works does. And even the fuel depot is over at the existing site. We need to start preparing to replace the tanks on that. That's also an item that's budgeted in the 10-year CIP. Does it make sense to, also look at siting a fuel depot on this site rather than just replacing the tanks on the existing site? It's, it's a little more central. It's closer to the transit center, for ride. So things of that nature. So we're trying to, start with the 30,000 foot view and zero in a little bit and just give us a really good planning document to see how we can perhaps move forward, do things maybe a little bit differently, a little more efficiently. If we do get into some, building consolidation, new construction opportunity to do, LEED, certified green, smart city type construction over there that, is sustainable, for Department of Public Works to operate in the decades to come.
Thank you, Mr. Rooney. Alderman McCarthy, does that answer your question?
It does.
Any further questions? No, from Alderman McCarthy. Okay. Mayor Mason?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair Jones. I just want to, before anybody gets too excited about this being decided or this is the site that it'll definitely go, just want to remind everybody this is a study just to look at the feasibility of different sites. Like, we haven't identified how we would pay for such a thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner, this is not the sole site that will be explored in the study. So I just want to, before people get too animated about believing that a decision's been made that there's going to be consolidated facility on the site, this is just a feasibility study to see what would go into it. And it's really just questioning what's possible. So I don't want people to get too far ahead of themselves in believing that a decision's been made about where a consolidated facility might go. And that if there is a consolidated facility, that this is the one site that's being considered.
Thank you, Mayor Mason. Any further questions from committee members? Welcome, Alder Limpy. Did you have any questions at all?
No, I've been listening to the robust conversation and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Alder Santiago, any questions?
I'm good, thank you.
If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Alder McCarthy, second by Alder Santiago, to approve item 0014-22. If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposes? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion. Very enlightening, Commissioner Rooney. Our next item is 0006-22. Assistant Commissioner Fritzlock.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works requesting a preliminary resolution for paving the following streets in 2023. Belmont Avenue from Eisenhower Drive to Spring Street, Eaton Lane from Rapids Drive to Romaine Avenue, Eaton Lane from Romaine Avenue to Cul-de-sac, Olive Street from Grove Avenue to the dead end, Olive Street from Illinois Street to Oregon Street, Roosevelt Avenue from the cul-de-sac to Bird, Thunderbird Drive from the dead end to Marquette Street, and Winthrop Avenue from Carpenter Avenue to Gates Court. And the star indicates coordination with the Village of Mount Pleasant. City Engineer Molitor.
Thank you, Assistant Commissioner Fritzloff. DPW staff recommends the introduction of preliminary resolution for paving of those streets that were just listed by the Assistant Commissioner. The three streets, two sections of Eden and the section of Winthrop Avenue are basically the city limits are on the center line of those streets. So the one half of them would be coordinated with the Village of Mount Pleasant, and they would come up for their funding through the village. Fiscal note, these are accessible streets, city projects, or accessible city projects. All costs will be paid for by the abutting property owners. As I just mentioned, the Village of Mount Pleasant has agreed to approve their portion of the Eden Lane, the two sections, and Winthrop Avenue in conjunction with the city's construction projects if committee and council approve these accessible streets. We recommend approval of this preliminary resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Molitor. Any questions from staff? Alden McCarthy.
Thank you. I assume there'll be public hearings around these as well. That wasn't mentioned, but since they're accessible. Okay.
Yes, this is our standard process to go
Yep.
through public hearing. Preliminary resolution required. And we will be holding a public hearing sometime this spring after the commissioner's reports are completed to determine the damages for each property owner. Those will be sent out, and we will conduct a virtual public hearing, I am quite sure, this spring.
It's all gonna be over by spring.
Any further questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve?
Second?
A second,
Second?
motion by Alder Santiago, second by Alder Ross to approve item 006-22. If there are no further questions, Mayor Mason, I saw your light blink. Did you have a question at all?
Nope, I don't know why that happened.
Yes, it lit up, but I didn't see a hand. Just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
So seeing no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposes? The motion carries. This exhausts our agenda, for this afternoon. Thank you all, and thanks staff for getting us through this. And I remember opposed here, so thanks again if you remember from last meeting. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening. We are adjourned.
Aye, all.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.